What is going on, folks? We are live. It is a Thursday afternoon, and we're live. And this was an unplanned live, but I had to get some stuff off my chest. I want to have a real conversation today. Now, I just got home from work and decided to come home and do this. I have to go pick up my son from school in less than 2 hours. So we're going to make the best of it. I want to be here at least for an hour to discuss what we need to discuss. I am going to take some time to let some folks get in. Nerdette, what's going on, Tony? Thank you for stopping in. Like I said, we're going to take some time just to let folks come in since this was not a planned live. Saw what's going on, saw bottom tier. Thanks for saying what's up, bottom tier. I appreciate it, man. So, hey, while we're here, while we're waiting for folks to come in, I'll give my standard spiel. If you're just joining for the first time, I would definitely appreciate it if you could subscribe. I make content almost every single day. I was actually going to come home from work and make a video, but things just transpired, and I said, I'm going to put that aside. I'm going to come here. We're going to have a conversation. But lots of awesome links in the description, folks. And we still got 10K subscriber contest giveaways rolling. I'll be releasing random videos that you have to watch and comment on in order to have a chance to win those prizes. I still have a couple up from the last couple of weeks that I have not picked a winner yet. So you guys can still watch those and comment on those. Matt, what's going on, Matt? But again, we're going to have a really important discussion today, folks. But I'm going to wait at least a few more minutes to get some more folks in here before we start talking. This is, obviously, you guys saw the title. I believe there's a war going on within this community that is absolutely unneeded. I believe there needs to be context and dialogue and conversations had in order for us to move forward. This is comic books. I'm going to keep saying that this is comic book, folks. So just remember that. It should never, we're not, turf banging, we're not fighting over the dope game or real life stuff, or war over drug cartels, or just, we're not talking about poverty or political oppression here. I mean, this is comic books. So at the end of the day, we're all passionate. We're serious about this. Integrity matters. Trust and community matters, right? But let's remember that it's still comic books. Let's see. X11, what is going on? Miguel, what's going on, Miguel? So again, taking just a couple more minutes before we get started. Now, I did look, and I'm going to say this right now, and I'm going to say this a few different times throughout the show. This is a conversation that I'm going to be expressing my opinion and putting out a call to action to other content creators, to anybody in this industry. Whether you work for a company that's involved in this industry, in the comic book industry, I have a StreamYard link. Anybody that wants to hop in, that has a platform, can hop in today. I'm going to open that door. If you guys want to hop into this conversation and not just, type on screen, I'll bring you into the conversation. I'll bring you on screen and we could talk face to face today because there's a lot of things that need to be hashed out. So again, a few more minutes to let a few more folks come in. I want to make this clear too, people. I want to make this clear too. I want to be I know I get animated and I get passionate, right? And if I do that today, I want you all to know that it's truly out of just what's the word that I can use? It's out of it's me wanting desperately to build this community. I don't want anybody to feel like I'm talking down to anyone today. I don't want to feel like I'm on a pedestal or on some type of high horse on my soapbox talking to people. I do not want that to be the case. So please be assured, I'm coming here today with open arms, wanting to embrace you all. But damn it, if I get passionate and maybe heated at points and times, just understand where I'm coming from. All right. Jimmy Blue, thank you. Thanks for popping in today. The Comic News Network. Yeah, they are. Louis Logis, what's going on, Louis? Yes, my TMNT books that I picked up. Yeah, the lower print run, later Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle Adventure books. Absolutely. Shadow Rat, what's going on? JG. It's just acting. It's not acting, JG. I'm not acting at all. I'm 100% real. It's not acting. It's raw emotions, you know? So, Don, what's going on? I got to say, guys, I got to, so happy to see Don here. I always say, look, I come from an environment where you don't forget where you came from. And I've said this before and I'll say it again. I'll say it till if I'm still 80 years old doing YouTube, there would be no Journos Comics without Don, the comic book junkie, folks. That is a fact and that'll never change. Don makes content, folks. So if you guys aren't subbed up to Don, go check him out. I'm still trying to catch up to his, I think, Don, I think you recently hit 30K. I know for a fact that I have over 20K in my collection right now, but because some of the inventory is stuff that I'm selling, I haven't announced it yet because I'm waiting till my CLZ app gets to 20K. When that happens, then we're having a celebration. Awesome, Don. Yeah, I came. This is a different time for me. So yeah, Discovery Bay was going on. Taku Pops was going on. Comic Book Poser. No, nobody needs to get slapped. This is all, humble, but humble conversation here, folks. All right, let's take one more minute before I get into my conversation again, folks. If you aren't subscribed, I truly appreciate it if you do. I make content almost every single day. I'm working tirelessly. I have an awesome video series coming up that you guys are going to like. It's going to be a 3-part video series. I was working on it literally for about 10, 11 hours yesterday, just trying to get graphics created to get this video series up and running. So I can't wait. I can't wait for that. Oh, we're going to start this conversation off with maybe a little bit of slapping. All right, folks, here's the thing. Marvel Goddess, what's going on? Here's the thing, folks. This is what I want to address today. This is what I want to address. Hold on one second. Bear with me because we got a lot of stuff happening live. Stuff transpiring live. Okay. Ha, wow. This is what I'm talking about. Folks, comic books mean so much to us. They pulled me out of dark places at certain times in my life. But at the end of the day, the way that we treat each other over comic books is utterly ridiculous. All right. Now, I know that this hobby is an industry. And folks, I didn't plan this live. I just want to interrupt myself here. I didn't plan this live. I didn't plan it. All of this is off the top of my head. So I don't even know where this is going to go. But let me continue on. There's been a lot going on, and I've seen it more and more as of late. And then something happened today that made me come here to want to talk about this. We are an industry, and anybody that has a platform like this on YouTube, we have power, okay? Whether or not we want that power. Now, many of us that have this platform and have a larger following, we are business entities, right? So Journos Comics is a brand, and I am a business entity. Okay. Comic Tom is a brand. He's a business entity. He does YouTube, but he also sells comics. Mill Geek, he works with Mill Geek. Very Gary's a brand because he sells comics. Bryce Comics is a brand. He sells comics, and I think he's trying to get his LCS, his brick and mortar location, up and running. But then you have other individuals like, or A1 Comics is a business entity because obviously they're an LCS, but now they have a YouTube and they make some awesome YouTube videos. So go check them out. Key Collector Comics is a business entity. We all know this. CBSI is a business entity, right? Anybody that's affiliated with them is a business entity. Pressable Defects, if they still do, don't get me wrong, I do believe they still do some videos that's sponsored by CBSI. So in a sense, Pressable Defects on their platform of YouTube, they're a business entity. We are all in some form or fashion conducting business. Now, I'll be the first to say, if you are conducting business to the general public, it is fair game to be at the opposite end of critique, whether it's constructive critique or negative critique or whatever you want to call it. Fair game. That's like me with CGC. One day I'll say, I'm very concerned with CGC's quality control. And then people are like, well, you know what? Everyone makes mistakes. Why do you have to talk bad about it? And I'm like, look, they're a public entity. Why do you think we have things like Yelp or Yellow Pages or Google Review? We can share our thoughts, negative and constructive or positive. Okay? Fair game. But just because I talk negatively or constructively about an entity doesn't mean that I hate that entity or not going to support that entity. Usually for me, it means that I want that entity to succeed. I want them to grow and succeed. I want to see them do better. If there was a business that I didn't care about and that I didn't like at all, I probably won't even talk about them, because what's the point? You know, like, I'm going to tell you guys right now, PGX. I hardly ever talk about them because I do not like their business. I don't like what they have to offer me as a consumer. So why do I need to talk about them? Now, I will say, because I have a platform, I'm not just a consumer, I'm also a business entity myself. And part of my business is journals, comics, and pop culture is I have a journalistic approach to this industry and this hobby and things relevant to it. So in one end, I'm a journalist and I have journalistic integrity that I need to uphold. So if I talk about why I would never use PGX or what I feel is flawed with PGX, that's the only time I'll talk about them from a journalistic standpoint, right? But as consumers, I only waste my time as a consumer talking constructively about companies that I give my business to. If I love Starbucks and I go there and they make my coffee, they're having problems making my coffee, and I want to keep enjoying their product, I'm going to be vocal about that. If I wanted to move to Pete's Coffee or somewhere else and not ever go to Starbucks again, I'm not even going to waste my time talking about them. All right. So let's get all that out of the way. We have the right as consumers to voice our opinions about any business entity out there. Donut Junkie, what's going on? Brian, thank you for hanging out today. Hulk Nuts. So basically, when we are on a platform and we have an audience and we have the power to influence an audience, we don't even have to be content creators. We could just be on Instagram. We could be on social media. We could be posting in Facebook forums or any forum. We have influential power. We have the power to influence. When companies do things or don't do things or whatnot, whatever, we have the right to hold them accountable to a standard of ethics and integrity. And I will never stray away from that. But there is a constructive way of doing it, or there is a productive way of making this happen. And there is a counterproductive way of making this happen. Tamares, what's going on? Long time no see. Next is Cowboy. What's going on? Viper GTS. Okay. Too often than not, do we have situations pop up where we go to social media and instead of being productive, we are counterproductive. And even if our intent is just, even if our intent is righteous, sometimes that intent is perceived differently by those that we are influencing. And now that group of people, this goes back to what I was recently talking about, groupthink. We get into this groupthink mentality and we pick up pitchforks. And we no longer start thinking with reason or rationale, but we start thinking with emotions, very reactionary emotions. And we pick up the pitchforks and we stoop to a very childish high school level of divide and conquer. There was an incident that happened today that I was made aware of, I think a couple days ago, where I don't even want to get into it. I don't even want to give the details, folks, but there was a situation with a YouTuber and with an app that has a sponsorship or a business relationship, partnership. And I believe some things went down that were definitely questionable. But all it did was bring out the pitchforks. And instead of looking at it saying, okay, let's look at this. What's going on with the integrity of the YouTuber and the app? We stoop to leaving comments, being cynical and childish. And then we get other content creators dropping clown emojis. And I'm going to tell everyone right now that we got a lot more folks in the house, I have a StreamYard link. If you want to come on, if you make content on YouTube, if you work for an app or a database or any website out there that's comic book related, and you want to hop into this conversation at least for the next, 50 plus minutes, hit me up privately on IG or tell me in the comments right now and give me your email. And I will email you the StreamYard link and let you come on today, right now. I don't want to just be up here talking to myself. This is a conversation that needs to be had between everyone in this community. So, again, if you guys are here, drop me your email. I'll send it over right now, or hit me up on IG and I'll copy and paste it. Now, the situation that I'm talking about, I believe the YouTuber wasn't even aware of it. I don't even think the YouTuber was aware of what happened on this app that was kind of questionable. The app was made aware of it and they made changes. So now it comes back to intent versus perception. But before we even stress our intent and perception, have we had a conversation? Have we reached out to the YouTuber? Have we reached out to the app? You feel me? Let's try to have a conversation first instead of just going to Instagram and obviously making statements to these individuals saying, I'm not open to have a conversation. And it bringing up the pitchforks, right? Let me get this link. Let's get this link. Now what's ironic, I'm going to bring this up real quick. This is where we're at, folks. This is where we're at. Instead of having a conversation, looks like they deleted it. I got an individual. I chimed in on one of these posts and said, all I said was, did we reach out to the individuals to have the conversation? And we should be handling this in a more productive manner. And this individual says, I'm not going to watch that YouTuber anymore, and now I'm not going to watch you anymore. Simply because I wasn't picking a side. I wasn't arguing with anyone. I was saying, look, guys, just pump the brakes real quick. Take heed before we start making this go viral. And we're dropping clown emojis and talking crap about a YouTuber that might not even know what happened, where we are now maybe affecting their livelihood because we're spreading libel about them. Let's have a conversation. Just because I'm telling you to do this and to be respectful of all parties involved, let's act like adults. Let's act like mature adults. Now you're going to jump on social media and say, why do you care what my opinion is? I'm not going to watch them. Now I'm not going to watch you. I don't mean, like I said, guys, earlier, I'm not here to stand on a soapbox. I don't mean to laugh at this, but I don't care if you don't want to watch me anymore, especially if this is why. Because you are the epitome of what I'm talking about. How old are we? How old are we? So what I'm going to do is I'm going to reply to this guy. I'm live right now. Hit me up. Live right now. I'll give you the StreamYard link. Come have a conversation with me. Come have a conversation with me. I got somebody that wants to, that I got to get this link to as well. But have a conversation with me. It boggles my mind that this is the reaction. Okay, CC. Okay, JG. I'm not even going to read that comment. I'm going to tell you guys right now. This is what I expect out of all my viewers right now. Nobody in the comments right now are going to do the same thing that I'm calling out. We are not going to be that in which we hate. If you're fighting a cause and you think somebody's doing wrong, you don't do what they do. So I'm going to tell you right now, there's going to be no name calling. We are not calling anybody else. Just because somebody called somebody a clown, nobody in my chat is going to call that person a clown. This is what I'm talking about. We are not dividing and conquering here. We are having a conversation. Nobody is our enemy here. Nobody is a clown at the end of the day. People might be acting immature and foolish for even stooping to this level, but I'm not here to point fingers at them. I'm here to grab them by their shoulders and say, look, we got to do better. So I'm going to state that right now. And if I got admin, if I got moderators in the house right now, I don't want you to ban anybody. But starting from here on out, if anybody is being disrespectful, critique, voice your opinions, but we are not name calling. Because that is that same counterproductive mentality that I'm trying to stop, right? All right. Let me get this link over to, give me one moment, guys. Okay. So we might have some folks joining, but I want to continue on by saying this, folks. I'm going to use my example of when I did videos talking about my concerns with Key Collector. And I've gone back to this often. I made some very passionate videos talking about how I feel Key Collector is stating these first appearances or whatever in a way that is very misleading. And I was very passionate about it. And to this day, I disagree with them. I still disagree with Key Collector on some of those things. Then I've done videos where I disagree with CGC, but Key Collector had it right, in my opinion, right? But I tried to reach out to Nick, and I've told this story before, but I'm going to tell it again because it's important to this conversation. Nick, and if Nick ever watches this, much respect, Nick, but this context matters. Nick didn't want to talk to me. Nick did not want to talk to me. But finally, I kept coming at him saying, we need to have a conversation. We need to have a conversation. And we finally did. And I do believe we talked for over an hour. And we've had multiple conversations from then. And I'm so glad that Nick opened the door to have a conversation with me. I was truly humbled by it, and I'm glad that happened because we have an understanding now. Like I said, I still don't agree with everything that they're stating on their app, but and the issues that I'm calling out today are reasons why I understand more now than ever why Nick was hesitant to talk to me. I understand why Nick didn't want to open his door to me. Who am I? Some other YouTuber that is picking up a pitchfork saying that calling them the key collector clown app and that, they're manipulating the market and all this crazy stuff, where I go to these extremes instead of try to have a conversation. That wasn't me, though, and both parties involved realized that. So I can empathize. And why is that? Why did Nick not want to reach out to me? Because of how a lot of you respond to these situations. We do not respond in a manner that allows for us to have dialogue. We do not respond in a manner that allows us to have conversations. So while we think that our intent is to hold apps or businesses or YouTubers, our intent may be to hold them to an ethical standard or to a certain level of integrity. We're doing the opposite because I don't blame them for closing the door and running away. Because before we allow them to speak up and address these issues, we already assume the intent to be sometimes outlandish. I mean, sometimes our assumptions are so left field. And again, and the way we handle it is by being cynical, belittling, calling names, and acting like we are 12 years old. I absolutely agree. I agree with this 100%. Let's be real. Most of the hate directed at KCC, Bry, Comic Tom, whoever, is because of their success. It's a lot easier to mask it as disliking their content or business practices. JG, absolutely agree. Now, I'm not saying anybody needs to like Comic Tom or Key Collector. That's your opinion. Not everyone needs to like me, and I say this over and over again. But here's the problem. I agree 100% with the majority of people out there with what JG just said. And I know firsthand because of the success that I've had. I find it extremely ironic that the same people that talk crap about speculation apps or speculation YouTubers, of YouTubers that create top 10s, the same people that hop on IG and talk crap about them either sell comics themselves, brag about how they're flipping 5 to 10 to 20 copies of that spec book, or have their own YouTube themselves, but they don't have as many followers. And look, guys, you could be like this guy and say, I'm not going to watch you anymore. Or you can put your guard down and listen to me. You can get the link from me and hop on today too. And we can have a conversation. Why is it that the loudest people that talk crap about any YouTuber that has success or about an app that's dominating the industry with speculative news, why is it that the loudest people either have YouTubes themselves or are on IG every day talking about how they're flipping books or going to the LCS and finding 20 copies of that hot spec book? And you don't think that this goes back to what I was saying, you don't think that you have influencing power? You don't think that the average comic collector on Instagram isn't going on Instagram and seeing your hot gets? Oh, look at that. And that they're not like having eBay open You know, like, oh, look at this awesome Archer variant. Man, I might want to go buy that now. You don't think that we're browsing here and thinking that, you know, I wasn't conscious of that Submariner book. I'm about to go check out eBay or the Mercari app and see if I could find one myself. You don't think that you are not influencing the market as well? Folks, what's going on, David? Hartman, what's going on? Sylvia, what's going on? I don't want to sit here and yell and act like this. I don't. I know there's going to be people that, oh, look at Journo yelling at the camera. I don't want this to be that. But it boils down into this, folks. Are we clout chasing? Is that all we're doing? And this is the honest question. I could sit here and accuse people, but I would rather be more humble and ask the question. Are we simply clout chasing? Are we using comic books as a way to catch clout? Does it just feed our ego? Do we think that we're some type of superstar? Is that all we want if we have a YouTube, to get clicks and views? Or I'll throw scoopers. I'll throw scoopers in this mix. That's why I'm sorry. I'm sorry if you're a scooper. I stay away from scoopers. Because to me, it's about validation. Are we just seeking validation? Oh, look, I talked about, hey, guys, you better go oh, no, I know. The Infinity Watch, #1. Warlock and the Infinity Watch, #1. Was I just clout chasing and wanting to be validated? If that comes to fruition, and then when it does, I'm going to show off when we get an Infinity Watch storyline in the MCU, do I come to Instagram and show off my 30 copies and say, I told you guys first? And then it fulfills something in me? Or am I talking about Infinity Watch because I value the fact that I think it can be a solid spec book? If we're not just here to chase clout, if we're not just here for validation, then why are we doing the same thing that big YouTubers are doing, that apps are doing, but yet we're getting mad at them? What makes it different? What makes it any different? And I know the majority of you sell comics. And at the end of the day, no matter what you think of Key Collector, no matter what you think of them having an eBay link, but why not? Why not? It's business. It's business. And you guys act like you don't shop eBay anyways. Don't tell me that you don't watch a YouTube video. How many people, how many of you, if I do my top 10 or top 20 Bronze Age keys to invest in for under $100, say I do that video. If I had a link pop up for every book that I did to eBay or to Mercari, to those listings, how many people would use those links? Wouldn't it be convenient? Because how many of you are watching my video and going on eBay anyways and looking up the books that I'm talking about? And okay, so and maybe I would get a small percentage if somebody clicks those links and makes a purchase. I mean, look, I'm here giving you guys free content every day. I work for free. You guys don't know how much time I put into this channel. I work 7 days a week. 7 days a week. I go to work. I go to the school. I educate children. I come home at noon, and I go to work on that day's video. After I do that day's video, I go to work on my next video series that I got to make graphics for. I respond to comments. I'm up until 1 a.m. working on videos. I come back the next day, do the same thing. So if I had a link directing you to eBay or Mercari or whatnot on books that I'm talking about, isn't that just more convenience for you guys? And hey, if I'm getting 2% of a purchase in my pocket, doesn't that help me keep doing what I'm doing as a service to you guys? What makes Key Collector any different? What makes Comic Tom or Bryce Comics or anybody any different? At the end of the day, it's a business. And I have yet to see Key Collector Comics tell you to buy a book. I have yet to ever see Key Collector tell you buy this book because it's on my app. I've never, and again, I'm not on Key Collector all the time. I don't watch other YouTubers all the time, but I peek in here and there. I've never heard Comic Tom or Gem Mint tell you to buy a comic. I never heard Bryce Comics tell you to buy a comic. If they have, and I just haven't heard it, you guys can let me know. Send me the link. I've never told you guys to buy a comic. Again, and I'm not telling you to like them or watch their channel. That's personal preference. But, and here's another thing. Okay, let me read through some comments real quick. JG says they don't have to tell you, they know you're going to do it. And hey, yeah, look, at the end of the day, why aren't we looking in the mirror, folks? Why aren't we holding ourselves responsible? I said this before about the Key Collector app. I've only had the Key Collector app for like a few months. And I don't use it that much. But I do look at it from time to time. And I don't take everything listed. I take it with a grain of salt, and I use different sources because I think they can have flaws and inaccuracies at times. But, you know, I lost my train of thought. What was I saying here? Yeah. Why don't we hold ourselves accountable? Because I've said this before. I don't see Key Collector app as a problem. I see how we as collectors and consumers utilize the app to that can then become problematic. And that goes to what I've been talking about, my concerns with FOMO. FOMO could be a fun thing, but it can turn problematic. And that's on us. If we are using the Key Collector app and we're buying a book simply because you got a Key Collector app alert, that's a problem. That's a problem. That's like an addiction. That's addictive behavior. But is it the app's fault? No. You got to look in the mirror and hold yourself accountable. What's FOMO? Fear of missing out. Now, I do have a guest that I'm going to bring on because I do want to talk about a specific situation. And this is going to kind of shift the conversation because I talked kind of in general, right? I brought up general talking points. But there are specific situations where I think we as collectors or consumers or hobbyists can really look at those individual situations and question intent and integrity and ethics. And that goes back to what I was saying at the beginning of this stream, that's fine for us to do that. But I hope that now I could bring in this guest, and I want to talk about how we approach specific situations while holding ourselves to our own certain level of integrity and being able to build bridges and move forward instead of burning bridges and dividing this community even further. Before I bring our guests in, I do want to say what's up to a few more people. JLS, what's going on? Ishmael, what's going on? Kevin, second premiere. William. I can't say this. Otaku Pops. I just wanted to say what's up to more folks, guys. Okay. All right, guys. I'm gonna bring in a special guest. I really am humbled that this guest would join us today. I'm really happy that somebody is joining in on the discussion. So please, guys, if you could welcome Brian. What's going on, Brian?
Thank you, brother. I appreciate you. I'm changing my name real quick because I just realized it has some weird name on there, right? Like, what do I got going on here? So,
no worries, man. Yeah, guys, if you're not, subscribed to Tales from the Flip Side too, go. If I knew you were joining, I would have put your link below just to share.
Don't worry about it, bro. We're good. We're good. I appreciate you, man. I appreciate you for reaching out. I've been listening. And I appreciate what you're saying 100%. And the reason why I came on is solely for this point. The most important thing that we can do in this community is talk to each other, have conversations, especially open roundtable conversations, right? And I think you brought up so many good points. I think the biggest thing that we need to take away from this is that point. And I think that a lot of content creators, social influencers, app creators, whatever, should take heed of this, because I think that's part of that's the biggest problem to me. And you're 100% right when you say we all read things different, and I'm just as at fault of this as everybody else. Nobody is perfect, and the way that we read text and we, in our own inner dialogue, our inner monologue from somebody else, we put on emotions from those people that we're reading. Those emotions half the time aren't there.
Right.
For example, you hit me up today, Chris, because one of the things that you're talking about is this thing that's going on with basically calling out another influencer for maybe some questionable practices. And I think that, I put a post up copying the post that was made saying, pay attention. And I should have made more comments about it saying basically this. And what I mean by pay attention is this. We can all learn from this situation, right? Key Collector can learn from it. Bryce can learn from it. Blue Green can learn from it. I can learn from it. Journals Comics can learn from it. And what we can learn from this is that we're doing what you said, in that we're pulling out the pitchforks too quick and not giving somebody a chance to talk. Well, get in that ring and talk. You talked about Nick. You first contacted Nick and he didn't want to talk to you. And your point you made was 100% true. The guy is like pitchfork conscious, big time, and he has a right to be. He has a right to be, but I think he would do so much better for himself if he could get out there and explain himself. People see him, that he's human, that he's a person. Like we have the benefit of being on YouTube or IG or anything, and people seeing us and hearing us talk rather than reading it. They hear the inflection in our voice. Yep. They hear our emotion. They see the type of people we are, right? Nick, I think one of Nick's problem is that he doesn't do that. I think Nick's a good guy. I don't think Nick's trying to do anything evil or bad. He's just trying to make a buck, like every single one of us are. Like you were talking about earlier, we're all trying to make a buck off of this. Now, maybe it isn't our sole intent, but I would like to make a little money off it. I sell comics. You sell comics. This is how I pay some of my bills. This is how I buy some of my grails. This is how I do so. You know what I mean? So we all want to make a little bit of money off of this. But there's always the way you do things that shows your intent, I think, right? And people don't see that with Nick. They just hear about him. He's the wizard behind the curtain. You know what I mean? If that
Let me
makes sense.
jump in here. Let me jump in here real quick. I do want to give context. Now that you're here, I think, I do want to give context to the situation. I didn't want to speak on the specific situation without you because our prior communication was, you and I had communication. And to the original poster, I want to let everyone know. So there was an individual that posted on IG. I reached out to them and through comment and via voice message, and they listened with open ears. I appreciated that. Brian did the same as well. So I want that to be known first and foremost, because I'm not sitting here putting anyone on blast or saying that, anybody even had the ill intent. I think it comes down to like, look, that original post, I think could have been worded a lot differently. My main concern too, when things like this happen, it's always the comment sections. It's always the comment. And we're never going to be able to control and dictate the comment sections, but we have the ability to be more self-aware in how we are being perceived. And I did a stream before, after all that key collector stuff happened with me, because I realized that like I would go in those videos stressing that I disagree with this about key collector, and I'd still get the pitchfork people, and they're like, Journo, you're our leader, lead us with the pitchforks, death to key collector. And I'm like, no, that's not. So I had to come and put them in check. Like, this is not what I'm doing. Or perception versus intent. No matter how conscious I was of my intent, that intent was being perceived differently. So I have continued to grow in how cautious I am with trying to push my intent. But, through those comments, there was a lot of other influencers. There was other YouTubers. There was other individuals that have the same similar platforms that kind of stoop to this level and I know a lot of them, and I want better from them. So to this specific situation, though, there's valid, I don't want to say recourse, but there's valid reason for concern with what happened on the Key Collector app. And it was, if you guys don't know, it was basically an influencers list that the Key Collector app takes. And one of this influencer's own exclusive variants seemed to be put on this list. But if you watch the videos that the influencer does, the influencer himself did not have this book on the list. The influencer talked about his book in his introduction and then proceeded to talk about exclusives. All right. I think that I can't tell you the intent of Key Collector when they were setting that up, but I have a feeling that the influencer didn't even know how it was set up. He might not have even known that any of this was going on. By the way, guys, Key Collector has fixed it. Nick has spoken publicly, at least in certain posts and forums, discussing this and that it's been fixed. Which,
real quick, I think is it's one of the best things that he could have done is to comment in that post and say, it was a mistake on my part. I apologize. This is what happened. Boom. That right there, best thing you could have done, brother. Do more of it. That's what we want. Do more of that stuff. Come out, be transparent about that stuff. Yep. It'll help so much more. And that's for every influencer, every person.
This is why I think it was important too, because and why my original comment on the original post was, has anybody reached out to these individuals yet? Because, like I said, there could be, what if I had a, just put me in the situation. What if just use the same situation and pretend it was me. I have a working relationship with Key Collector, and I do videos once a week. I'll do a video talking about like undervalued keys or exclusive variants to invest in or something like that. And Key Collector takes what I do in my video and makes a list out of it on the app or on the website. So here I am doing a video, and Journos has his first ever, exclusive variant, and I'm promoting it, in the beginning of the video. And then I talk about my 5 other books that are on the list, and Key Collector takes my book and puts it like they did. And then I'm going to bed, I'm watching a movie with my kids, going to bed, taking them to school the next day, and then I come home and I'm getting tagged, or I'm seeing posts, and like and not that this has happened yet, but it could get to this point. I'm seeing posts of my face with like blurbs, and people are saying, "Look at me, I'm a clown," or just, and I'm like, "Whoa, what the hell?" And I don't even know what I did.
Yes.
Because I didn't even know what had happened. So I mean, and Brian, just to let you jump in here, I think, that is that's why I jumped into this situation, because I really think that folks like us, we gotta, anyone else in the community, hopefully we could say, hey, Brian, like you just said when you hopped in, let's talk about this. How did we, what were the steps that we took to address this, and what maybe can we do differently or better next time?
Yeah. I think it's so important, again, to have a place where, or a platform where we can talk about these things, whether it's YouTube, Instagram, or this. And I want to also, again, stress to those people that are out there that, this is, it's a good thing to come on and talk about this stuff. We're all human. You're human too. It'll be the best thing that you can do is to come on and explain your side of stuff. Now, listen, there are always going to be people who are going to not be genuine. You know what I mean? There's going to be those fake, those bad actors out there. But if you're not one of those people, coming on and showing that you're human is very, very important. Okay. It's going to not only get rid of those pitchfork people, it's going to bring more people to your cause. It's going to better your cause, your business, this and that. So I think that, to me, that is the most important part. Now, I wish we could figure out a way to convince these people, like, I don't care what it is, people that have a platform, we can make it go from platform to platform, and we get influencers together to talk about these situations, to talk about this stuff. Maybe that's a pipe dream, I don't know, but I think that's very important. But I think the other important thing is, and you brought this up earlier, especially in the speculation community, which is such a small part of the comics community in general. I don't think we realize how small our part is. There's so many people out there that are buying comics. They don't care what a comic is worth. They don't care the condition of a comic. They just want to read it. They collect their favorite character. They collect their favorite creator. They're a run filler. There's so many different reasons, and the majority of them are not speculated. And I think that we have to be knowledgeable about that, especially us that are in this pool. And one of the things that I think we really need to do, which you brought up earlier, is get off of our high horses and think that we have any type of say or any type of importance when we say, I spec'd on this first. I need credit for this. Why? You don't need credit for it because you didn't spec on it first. Then 90% of the time, somebody thought about it before you. Okay. So I think too many of us, and I think that that's a big problem in a lot of the tension, especially even tension we're talking about. When you talk about Nick in the app, one of his biggest things that they talk about is, he doesn't give credit to people.
Right.
How does he know? He doesn't read, he doesn't watch every YouTube channel. He doesn't read every IG comic influencer.
Yep.
How does he know? Yeah. Second of all, why does it matter? You're not that person. Now, it's nice when he does it, and clap for that person, when he does it. That's great. That person that he does it for, if he heard it from somebody else, needs to say, hey, I heard it here. That's doing the right thing. That's being a good person. That's being genuine, So I think that is a big point. We need to get off of, and you said it very well. And here's another thing. I think people, and I didn't look at it this way, but I think people would look at what you were talking about earlier, and you kind of joked on it. You said, people are going to say I'm on my soapbox again. People are going to say, you know what, man? Guess what? you add another person in this conversation and that changes the whole dynamic. And I can say, no, he's not on a soapbox. He feels the same way. Like, he feels this way. This is something that's going on in the community. This isn't him saying he's better than somebody. This is him saying this is something that needs to change. Okay. So I appreciate what you're doing. So I mean, that's just why I wanted to come on here and talk about this stuff. Let's figure it out. Let's get behind the scenes. Let's do what we can to make it better. I really think that Tony, shout out Blue Green. He's a good friend of mine. I respect him immensely. Very, very quiet, Minnesota guy who is just, a family guy. And sometimes people get mad and they have to say something, and that's totally fine. I get that. I get that. So, but I want people to know, hey, that's who this guy is. I don't know Bry, okay? But I don't think he's a bad guy either. I don't think he's a bad guy at all. I mean, that's the other thing. Maybe we need to, that's another reason to come on and these roundtable situations, because we can get a better feel of somebody.
Absolutely.
We can hear what they're about.
Yep.
What they grew up with, what they've been through.
I think too, looking at Blue Green, that again, I think a lot of people have good intent. And the saying, the path to hell is paved with good intentions. And I think it's because we've lost the ability to have conversations. You take that with all these other points that you brought up too, about reading the written word, and we put our own emotion to it, the inability to move past the conversation from there. We take this good intent and we become reactionary. And believe me, there's been times where like I will come on to a show, like I had to really sit. I gave myself a moment today before I said, do I want to do this? Now, at the end of it, because I've done stuff, like people will unsubscribe for me. And look, at the end of the day, I do care. I care for two reasons. I care because it hurts me. I don't want anybody to unsubscribe. It hurts my feelings. But two, this is my business, so I don't want my business getting hurt from it. But at the end of the day, it speaks to the fact that I'm going to be real, and I'm not going to, be a yes man or sugarcoat and not talk about something. But I wanted to do it in the right way at the same time. So I had to sit with it. I'm not going to, everyone's not going to be agreeable with my antics or the way I'm handling this, but I decided to come on because all those things that you just brought up. I am not sitting here, and I'm reiterating this for you guys in the audience. I'm not sitting here stating that there's any bad guy in this situation, and I think that's what we do. We think we have good intent. We're standing up for a belief, and there's people that sit on this side of the line of that belief, and we're pointing the weapons and the fingers at the people on that side of belief, while they're over there like, maybe they're like, we didn't do anything, and our belief or our belief is this, vice versa, whatever. And then that's what creates the war. That's what creates the divide, instead of realizing that either the intent was misunderstood, or sometimes we are human, we make mistakes. And if you had the conversation with me, I would have been open to listening and learning and things like that. But we go to these extremes, we paint people as bad people, and we champion that mentality. And then what really bothers me too is when we go to these extremes where it becomes so irrational, like the whole conspiracy theory thing, and then that just takes it out of context.
Well, you made you made a comment where you said that sometimes you get so far from what the actual reason the person was doing it for, like the conspiracy theories and the reasons that people think that this person is doing it, just gets so out of whack that you find out what the real reason, and it's like, oh, I just forgot to turn my phone on, the volume back on after a show. That's why I missed 10 of your calls. It's not because I hate you or something.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like, you're 100% right with that. That is a very big, especially in our community. Now, here's another thing I want to say. Our community has an issue with Oh God, you brought it up before, and it has an issue with people wanting the credit and all that stuff. Um, but I think that the majority of the people in our community, and we've built such a good community of genuine people, especially in the smaller community that is kind of we play in this side of the pool. It's a very, very strong community. Let's continue building that community. Let's continue being real people and showing, this is, we can make mistakes. We can be wrong. I always tell people one of the best things that somebody can say to me is either, I don't know, or hey, sorry, I was wrong. You know what I mean? Like, those are some of the best things that we can do. And if people know that, if people see us doing that, and see that we're genuine, the community will continue to build. But let's before I hop off, I definitely want to say, let's figure out a way. I don't care who it is that does it, how we start it, but if we can figure out a way to get people together and have roundtable discussions on some of this stuff to change some of the stuff, I think it could be a big deal. But I don't want to take up the rest of your thing, man. So I appreciate you, Chris. Let's talk when we're done here, man. And to your community, congratulations to your community. And I see a lot of the same people in both of our communities, and much love to all those people, and keep doing what you're doing, brother.
Appreciate it, man. Yeah, and just final words for you too, man. Again, it took a lot for you to come on and have this conversation today. And I want that to be, to show all of you all. And if we have any content creators watching, or anybody that, just wants to be vocal in this community about this hobby that we love, let's continue to do it in a way. Again, I use these two terms: productive or counterproductive. Let's not worry about the moment. Let's worry about the outcome. What are we doing in this? What we do, or how we're handling it in the moment, going to affect the outcome later on. And I think that's the important answer. If we're conducting ourselves in a manner that we feel is going to perpetuate divide, or this kind of war tactic rhetoric, maybe we need to sit and think differently. But the bottom line, having a conversation. So Brian,
Amen.
Thank you so much for taking some time to do that today. I appreciate it.
Much love, brother. I'll talk to you later.
Right. Take care. Awesome, man. Big shout out to Brian. And guys, again, go give Tales from the Flip Side subscribe on YouTube if you haven't done so yet. This is what it's about. And it's funny. I'm gonna use this. I'm gonna use this as an example. I used to be very active in my local Facebook groups. I was going to run for city council. This is before COVID. I was going to run for city council. I coached youth sports. I coached youth basketball. I actually, our city canceled youth basketball for some silly reasons, and I fought it all the way to City Hall and got it reinstated. These are the types of things that I do. But there's often times where, especially dealing with political stuff, where grown adults, they hop into forums and start talking crap. I would say, hit me up privately, or here's my phone number. And then they'd call me like, yo, what's up? You want to go at it? You want to go at it? I'm like, yo, dude, like, at the end of the conversation, we're like, oh, I swear to God, this is the truth. This guy was going at me, calling me names, calling me a PSSY, like all these names. And I hit him up. I said, hit me up privately. I'll give you my phone number. He hits me up in my inbox on Facebook. What's up, man? You want to be a big man? Let's go at it. Let's throw him down. And I'm like, here's my number. He calls me and he's like, what's up? By the end of the call, no lie, he invited me to his daughter's birthday party where they were having like jumpers and everything. No lie. Come by, have a few beers. I don't drink. For my daughter's birthday party. Why am I bringing that up? Because I think it goes to show a lot of the points that Brian reiterated as well. If we're on social media, we need to take a step back. Civil discussions are always best. So I know look, we live in a very crazy world right now where it's culturally acceptable to act a certain way on social media. There is a plaguing narcissism spreading through our society. And why I do believe the majority of us are decent human beings. Our brains are becoming rewired to feed this, ego-driven, almost narcissistic mentality at times, even though we may have good intent. We have to do better. We have to do better. And we have to start having the conversations. Think before you act. And if you can look at saying, if I do this, if I comment on this with clown emojis, or talking crap, or making personal attacks about somebody just because they have a YouTube, or just because they sell comics, or just because they have an app, or just because they have a sponsorship with an app. If I say this or do this, what is the outcome going to be later on? What are the repercussions of my actions going to do for the betterment of this community? And if you sit and think about that, and you still act in ways that are detrimental and counterproductive, and you still refuse to have a conversation, at that point, you're going to convince me that you're not here for the betterment of the community, and that you're just using it, that you're just using the community for some type of personal gain. But just like Brian and I said when we were talking, everyone makes mistakes, and sometimes we don't see that. But you can't keep making the same mistake, hitting your head up against the wall over and over again. There's got to be a point where we learn from these mistakes and we can move forward. We do. We got to drop our egos and humble ourselves. So, again, the invitation to other content creators or industry players is always open. I'm not better than you. I'm not holier than you. I'm not holier than thou. I'm not anything than you. I'm not better than you because I might have more subscribers than you, or I'm not threatened by you because you have more subscribers than me. I don't care if you spec on books or you don't spec on books. I don't care if you dislike the Key Collector app or love the app. My invitation to you all is open for us to talk it out. How do we do this better? How do we do this better? I don't want the reason. I'm going to use the music industry as an example. I quit my day job to go do my music. And I had my little 15 minutes. I got to make music and tour with artists that I grew up idolizing, and lived it for a moment. And while being on stage in front of thousands of people, taking pictures and rocking shows with Wu-Tang and KRS-One, and I always put my music out there as a way to influence the world. My life was changed and ultimately saved by Tupac's influence, because I was at a very bad place as a teenager. And if it wasn't for Tupac and his music and his influence, I remember the day. I know I'm getting a little sidetracked, but it's going to make sense, the point I'm making. I remember the day. I was 17 years old. I was high as hell, drunk as hell, sitting in the homie's car on the block, listening to Tupac, Are You Still Down, the double album, and I was listening to the song Hellraiser. And in my effed up state of mind, In that moment when I'm listening to Tupac, for those that listen to Tupac, you know that passion he had in his voice. They killed Natasha. Now I'm screaming the world. Because in my end, it's my friends that flip-flop. You know, when he's talking about little kids dying and all the struggle and pain that he's seen in his life. Mama raise a hell, raise a why cry. That's just life in the ghetto. It's do or die. And I'm feeling it. And I realize that if I don't change my life, I'm facing a jail cell or a grave. I want to thank everyone for the super chats, man. Thank you guys so much for the support. I really appreciate you, Kevin. Thank you so much. Marvel Goddess who sent one too. Thank you guys so much. I'm getting to a point, folks. I am. I realized that this is what I was doing with my life. And I pulled away. It took a minute to pull away from it all, but I did. And what was there for me was my music. And I put that same passion and energy. Tupac has a quote. He said, I'm not saying I'm going to change the world, but I guarantee that I will spark the brain that will change the world. I made it my mission to be that brain. He sparked my brain. Now it's my duty. It's that great power comes great responsibility. It's my duty to now carry on the spark. Now I hope that I can spark the brain. I'm not saying I'm going to change the world now, but now I got to spark other brains. And I did that with my music. And when I got signed to a label and I quit my day job and I went and did my music and was living my dream, my purpose was the message in the music. It wasn't the fame. It wasn't the clout. Although doing that felt great. I'm going to tell you, being in front of a crowd of thousands of people, doing this to your music, rocking with living legends. But at the end of the day, if they weren't listening to my music, if they weren't hearing what I was saying, it didn't mean anything to me. I didn't care about getting off stage and having women come up to me like, oh, Oni Ounce. Okay, are you approaching me because I was just some dude on stage? Or you really listen to what I was saying? And I was turned off by that. I didn't want that attention. I don't want that type of attention. If I wanted fame, it's merely because I want more people to be able to hear my message. And my point is this. It's the same thing with comic books. It's the exact same thing with comic books. I'm not on YouTube for clout or for validation. I'm not being validated because of a status quo or being on some pedestal or platform in front of people's faces. I want to reach more people. I want more subscribers. I want more people to see what I do and hear what I say. But it's because of the message that I deliver. It's because I care about comics. And I want to share the knowledge and the information that I have about comics. I'm not mad at anybody that goes out and buys 20 copies of a comic book to flip them. If you do that and you made money, more power to you. I support you. That's why I don't like people that say flippers are ruining comics. No, they're not. No, they're not. Let them do their thing. You order your previews orders and make sure you have it. Right? I don't care if you do that. And sure, it's fun showing off your multiple copies on Instagram or YouTube, whatever. I'm not even mad at that. But no matter what you do, your intent should come from the same place. It should come from right here. No matter what you do. So, guys, don't get my words twisted. I'm not sitting here saying anybody that shows off 20 copies of a book they picked up, that their intent is bad or they're bad people. It's not about bad or good. I just hope that your intent is from the heart still. Do it because you love it. Do it for the joy. Don't do it for validation or clout. Because if that's the case, and you start attacking other people for doing the same thing, and you start making up excuses like, oh, well, they're manipulating the market doing it. What's the difference? Because they have 50,000 subscribers on YouTube. I got to a point where I hit a certain amount of subscribers, and the same people that love me, when I had 1,000 subscribers, hated on me when I had 10,000. Because it's not about what we're really doing. Prime time, what's going on, prime time? It's not about what we're doing. To some of these people, it's about the fact that, oh, somebody gets a little bit of success, that becomes a problem. Swaggle, what's going on? Satori. Second premiere. Oh, man. Thank you so much, Second premiere. Yep, back to the beginning. Look, folks, I am going to start wrapping up here. I got to get ready to go get my son. Jay Ward, what's going on? I am not here to attack anyone. I'm here to do the opposite. I want to build bridges. Nothing should matter when it comes to how many subscribers we have, or if we work for an app or with an app or not, if we like to flip comics or not, if we like to hoard comics or not, if we sell or don't sell. None of that should matter. We shouldn't be at war, especially since a lot of times it's pretty hypocritical. We shouldn't be at war. And for those that have good intent and simply want to hold people accountable, you want to hold businesses and industry entities to a level of integrity and ethics, we have to have a conversation. Any other way about it is going to be counterproductive. And it boils down to that. It really does. Kevin Davies says, I celebrate success for everyone. Exactly. I mean, we should be celebrating success. Look, I'm going to tell you guys straight up right now, real quick. Jeff, what's going on, Jeff? I mean, there's YouTubers that I don't like. And not I don't like because I just don't like their content. Like, I have a real problem with what they do. I have a real problem with what they do. I have never once called them out. There's some that I've reached out to. There's some that I haven't. I'm going to be honest. There's some that I haven't. I thought about it, but I haven't even reached out to. I'm like, it's not even worth it. But I've never called them out on my channel because that doesn't solve anything. If I was to want to call somebody out, I would have to reach out to them first, because if I didn't, then I'm a hypocrite. I'm just causing the same type of drama. There are people out there that I believe don't have the integrity in the right place. I think that there are YouTubers out there, obviously I talked about this, that simply just want to spread sensationalized, divisive rhetoric just for clicks and views. But it's not my place to call anybody out by name unless I try to have a conversation with them first. JLS, absolutely. If one succeeds, we all succeed. Think about that. This crabs in a bucket mentality does nothing. And I could go on some whole socioeconomic tip here as some examples, but I can't. I'm running out of time. But seriously, we can't be crabs in a bucket trying to pull each other down. We should be doing the opposite, building each other up. The only thing that is hurting comic books, the only thing that is hurting comic books? It's not 40 variant covers. It's not flippers. It's not speculators. It's not YouTubers with large followings. It's not YouTubers that speculate. It's not Key Collector. It's not Go Collect. It's not Cover Price. It's not female characters or brown characters or LGBTQ characters. None of that is ruined. Now, I'm not saying you can't have personal opinions about all these things. None of that is ruining comic books. You know what's ruining comic books? The only thing that is ruining comic books is us being at war with each other. And that's it. That's what it boils down to. So I leave you all on that note. I really appreciate you guys hanging out on a Thursday afternoon. Like I said, it was unscripted. I hope the message got across to you guys. Again, I want to give huge respect to Brian, Tales from the Flip Side, hopping in, sharing the table today. And again, I encourage anyone to please reach out to me. We got to keep this conversation going. We have to. It's needed. It's absolutely needed. JLS, absolutely. And Rust. Thank you guys so much. Look, before I'm out, tomorrow, Friday Night Live. It's going to be a good one. We got Bronze Age Nerd and Como Comics. We're going to be live 6:10 Pacific, 9:10 Eastern. It's going to be an amazing Friday, guys. We're talking everything Slab Comics. Love them or hate them. I hope to see you guys there tomorrow. And remember, we are live on Comic Book Canon every Sunday now, 5 p.m. Eastern, 8 p.m. Pacific, 5 p.m. Pacific, 8 p.m. Eastern. This Sunday, Comic Book Canon. Links below if you're not subscribed to us over there. We're going to be giving out another slab. We're going to be giving out an amazing CGC slab this Sunday. So make sure you tune in then as well. Thank you guys for being here, folks. Subscribe if you haven't done so yet. If you like the channel, if you watch this on the rewind, I do want to hear your guys' thoughts in the comments below. Be respectful, be kind. Don't be rude in an a-hole. So thank you guys so much. Enjoy the rest of your afternoon and evening. Hope to see you guys tomorrow night on Friday Night Live. Peace.